The soft hum of the aurora's light filled the air, a lullaby of fusion reactors and artificial gravity. Captain Elias Ward stared out at the spiraling clouds of the Nephron Nebula, his reflection shimmering faintly against the ship's viewport. He had been charting alien territories for most of his life, exploring, documenting, surviving, but lately, something felt missing. A name, a memory, a shadow at the edge of his mind. He couldn't place it. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw violet light. Every time he dreamt, he heard a voice, melodic, haunting, calling his name. But when he tried to remember her face, it dissolved like smoke. "Captain," came the AI's voice through the intercom, calm and precise. "We've intercepted a long-range beacon. The signal's old, thousands of years, but it's active." Elias turned. "Coordinates. Sector 9, Delta 3. Near the edge of the void." That was deep space, the kind of region no sane pilot ventured into. "Source?" The AI hesitated. "Unknown origin. But the beacon is broadcasting a name, sir." "Your name." Elias froze. His name. The sound of it sent a chill down his spine. 2 days later, the aurora's light glided into the dark. Stars thinned into a cold emptiness until only the pulsing light of the beacon remained, flickering blue on the radar, surrounded by the debris of what seemed like a long-dead world. When Elias descended in a shuttle, he found ruins, alien architecture half buried in ash, towers broken like bones. And then he saw her. At first, he thought she was a mirage. A tall, slender figure standing among the ruins, silver hair flowing in the cold starlight. Her skin shimmered faintly, not metallic, not human, but something in between. When she turned, her eyes burned like twin stars, violet, and filled with something between rage and sorrow. "Elias," she said softly. He froze in his suit. "How do you know my name?" Her lips trembled, her expression unreadable. "Because once you told me yours. You promised you wouldn't forget." Middle, the fractured memory. They stood beneath the broken archways of the alien temple. The woman, or whatever she was, moved gracefully, her bare feet silent on the dust. Elias followed her cautiously, his pulse hammering. "I don't remember you," he said finally. "I think I would have." Her eyes flickered. "You did. But time can be cruel. To your kind, memory fades like light. To mine, it endures." She touched one of the walls. As her hand glided across its surface, the stone came alive with light, symbols pulsing, forming shapes, images. Elias saw flashes, a lush green world, twin moons in a lavender sky, 2 figures standing by a river, a human and a woman with violet eyes. "I am Sarah of Lyrith," she said quietly. "We met when your ship crashed on my world, 12 cycles ago, human years, perhaps 60. You were wounded. My people wanted to leave you, but I didn't." Elias felt a flicker of emotion, something raw and electric. "I've been to Lyrith? That's impossible. Humanity didn't have FTL capability back then." She smiled faintly. "And yet you came. You and I, we defied your laws of physics, your timelines. You stayed for months. We learned from each other. You told me about your stars, your fragile world of oceans and sky. And when you left, you promised you'd return." Elias took a step back, shaking his head. "If this is true, why don't I remember any of it?" Sarah's expression darkened. "Because you were taken." She led him deeper into the ruins. There, beneath the cracked stone and alien flora, was a massive crystalline chamber. Within it floated fragments of machinery, broken, ancient, but unmistakably human. A stasis pod. The nameplate read, E. Ward. Elias stared, his breath caught in his throat. That's me. Yes, Sarah whispered. Your vessel was caught in a temporal fracture. My people tried to save you. But when you returned to your timeline, your mind, your memories of Lyrith, were erased to protect you from the paradox. He stumbled closer to the pod, running a trembling hand along its edge. And you remembered all this time? I remembered everything. Her voice broke. I waited for you as centuries passed. My world fell into silence. My people gone. I kept searching across galaxies. And then I found this. She pointed to the faint glow of a ship above. Your signal. You're the last piece of my story. Elias looked at her, his throat dry. I'm sorry, he said softly. I didn't mean to forget. Sarah stepped closer. I know, but you did. And I crossed the stars to remind you. Middle, the light between worlds. Back aboard the Aurora's light, Sarah moved through the ship like a ghost rediscovering a dream. The AI scanned her physiology and found anomalies that defied classification, partially energy-based, molecularly fluid, sustained by quantum resonance rather than biological metabolism. She's not just alien, the AI whispered into Elias's earpiece. She's ancient. Elias watched Sarah examine the control panels, her fingers brushing against the screens like they were old friends. You still remember everything about me? He asked quietly. Sarah smiled faintly. I remember how you used to hum when you worked. How you looked at the stars and said they felt lonely. How you called me beautiful, even when I didn't understand what that word meant. He looked down, ashamed. I wish I could remember saying any of that. You will, she said softly, if you let me help. Sarah extended her hand. The light beneath her skin pulsed, and suddenly Elias's world blurred. He felt warmth spread through his temples, a soft electric current flooding his mind. And then he saw a world of twin suns, a city carved into glass, a river of violet water where he stood beside her, both laughing beneath alien constellations. Her hand in his, her voice whispering his name, not Elias, but Alien, the name she'd given him in her tongue, one who walks between worlds. Elias gasped and stumbled back. I remember. Sarah's expression softened. Then you know why I came? He nodded slowly, tears in his eyes. Because I promised. Middle, the Empire's shadow. The reunion didn't last long. The moment the Aurora's light entered OpenCom's range, an encrypted message arrived, flagged by the Galactic Council. The signal was urgent, stern. Captain Ward, by order of the Council of Sol, you are commanded to report to nearest outpost for debrief. Subject traveling with you, classified threat level Omega. Elias's stomach sank. They know about you, he whispered. Sarah's expression didn't change. Of course they do. The Lyrithians were once worshipped as gods and feared as devils. To them, my kind are relics that should not exist. He clenched his fists. They'll try to take you. Then we must not let them. The ship's proximity alarms blared. Incoming interceptors. Human design. The council wasn't waiting. Elias turned to Sarah. You said your people had technology that could bend spacetime. She nodded slowly. It's unstable. Dangerous. He smiled grimly. So am I. Climax, through the rift. The Aurora's light dove into the storm, plasma fire lighting up the void. The interceptors locked on, but Sarah raised her hands, and violet energy rippled from her palms, forming a shimmering barrier that deflected the blasts. The ship trembled, metal groaning under the strain. Elias, the AI shouted. We're approaching a gravity rift. If we cross, we'll be torn apart. Not if she opens it first, Elias yelled. Sarah stood at the center of the deck, her eyes glowing brighter than the stars. "This will take everything I have." He reached for her hand. "Then take some of me." Her smile broke his heart. "You always say that." The light erupted, a vortex of white and violet tearing through the black. The interceptors vanished behind them, swallowed by chaos. The Aurora's light screamed through the rift, engines burning, hull shattering, and then silence. When Elias opened his eyes, there was no space, no ship, only endless sky. Below them, a world of green forests and crystalline oceans. Above, two suns burning in harmony. Sarah fell to her knees, trembling. "We made it. Where are we?" She smiled weakly. "Home." Ending, the promise remembered. They landed on Lyrith, or what remained of it. Nature had reclaimed what civilization left behind, the air humming with strange light, the rivers glowing faintly in the dusk. Elias walked beside Sarah through the ruins, awe in his every breath. "This is beautiful," he whispered. "It was," she said softly. Before time took it, he looked at her, at the way her eyes reflected both sorrow and joy. "You waited here, didn't you? For me." "I waited everywhere," she said with a trembling laugh. "Across galaxies, timelines, dimensions. I followed every trace of you. Your descendants, your legends. Humanity forgot me, but I couldn't forget you." He stepped closer, gently cupping her cheek. "Then let's make new memories." For the first time in what felt like eternity, Sarah smiled without pain. "You humans," she whispered, "you always find a way to turn loss into love." They spent days rebuilding an old observatory, a relic of Lyrithian design, where the stars still shone through an open dome. At night, they would sit together, watching the twin moons rise. But one evening, as Elias gazed at her beneath the starlight, he noticed her form flickering faintly. "Sarah," he whispered. She turned, eyes shimmering. "My time is ending. The energy I used to cross the galaxies, it's fading." He gripped her hand tightly. "Then I'll find a way to save you." She shook her head. "No, Elian. You already did. You remembered me." Her light began to dissolve, tiny motes of violet dust swirling upward into the sky. He held her close, tears streaking down his face. "Please don't go." Her voice came like a whisper in the wind. "I will never truly leave. Every time you look at the stars, I'll be there, waiting." And then she was gone. Epilogue, the star's memory. Years later, the Aurora's light became more than a ship. It became a home. Elias devoted his life to studying Lyrith, documenting its history, its beauty, its mysteries. But every night, he would stand under the twin moons, eyes searching the sky. One night, as he closed his eyes, he heard her voice again. "Elian, do you still remember me?" He smiled faintly. "Always." And then, faintly above him, the stars shimmered, forming the outline of a woman's face, smiling down through time. She had crossed galaxies to find him. Now, he would cross eternity to never forget her again.